So here, welcome to everyone who will watch this later. Maybe one or two more will join. We currently have smaller calls every day. Yes, that's why we're in a smaller group today. I'm definitely looking forward to it. And yes, I can already warmly welcome you here. And we will now explain to you in the next 20 minutes. So really not forever, yes, but very compactly what we are currently doing in the training area. Yes, what is an option for customers? Yes, and if you are even excited about the product, there is a small to large referral program. But what's important is that we simply take a look at what's possible because, in my eyes, it's truly an insane opportunity. That means for everyone, those who maybe missed out on Bitcoin and Ethereum and the crypto hype 7 or 8 years ago, who perhaps didn't buy Zoom stocks during the Corona time or didn't position themselves well, this could still be a chance not to move something with hundreds of thousands of euros, but already with a small amount of money. Yes, to make a big difference here. Yes, and let's get started right away. So, just make sure you concentrate for the next 20 minutes. Yes, because it will go very quickly and that you can understand and absorb everything well. So I'll just quickly, so full screen, exactly. Now you should be able to see it. So important, everything I will show you in a moment, yes, is subject to the following, namely that you're always in control of your money. Yes, that means you don't send your money off somewhere to Timbuktu and can't access it anymore, but you're always in control of your money. Every decision you make here is your own responsibility. And yes, let's briefly touch on who we are or where we come from as a community. So I don't want to say much about myself, yeah, but more importantly, who I am is what I can do or we can do, yeah. We got into the crypto market relatively early, specifically in December 2015. I was, I believe, don't let me lie, freshly 20 or something like that, yeah. And was able to bring in quite a bit of experience, so to speak, with many ups and downs, I'll just say. For everyone who now thinks, yes, they have already had successes and so on, yes, but I spent my first 6 Bitcoins, yes, some who have known me longer know this, on a vacation to Bali. In hindsight, it was a very expensive vacation, yes, and we've all made such mistakes before. The important thing is to just keep at it, to keep going, and that's exactly what we did. 3 years later, we were then very early on with the first Bitcoin futures, yes, so you could trade Bitcoin against US dollar as a CFD or derivative. That means on rising and falling prices, so to speak. Yes, not just simple spot trading, buy and hold and so on. Yes, we built something very, very big over the years. During the Corona period, we were a bit, well, to put it bluntly, fed up after 3.5 very turbulent but successful years. And everyone kind of scattered a bit, I would say, into their own self-employment, other businesses, investments, made good money and so on, and learned a lot over time, yes, and now return to the market. However, everything we will discuss today will not trade in crypto, yes, don't worry, but in somewhat more traditional markets, markets that are a bit more conservative, like, for example, gold, currency pairs, yes, precious metals, and so on. And there are very big opportunities that can be realized there. So, what is the big problem? To clarify it briefly, or what has always bothered me personally? It's a very simple point, you know, all those possibilities out there with Instagrammers, and yes, you can live freely and you can earn such and such amount of money in X hours and so on. And what always bothered me about it, or in general, the problem is that you simply have these monthly fixed costs, yes, or a very expensive fee. That means you have to book a coaching session. You need some kind of starter, super duper multi-million-dollar diamond fund, whatever package, right? You might have fixed costs for some signals or some coaching of 100, 200 euros a month. And that's not a problem, right? If you had huge sums at hand. The problem is if you want to work with a few thousand euros now, really, yes, as a normal person, what happens then? Yes, you actually spend the money on that and actually have no money left to invest. or the money you actually wanted to work with, right? So that's where we ultimately start. Plus, there's always higher expectations of profit. 6 weeks to a six-pack, 6 weeks to get rich, and so on, right? And these crazy promises. And we're just kind of out of that, We want to approach this with a different method, namely with supervised trading. That means real experts, yes, who do it for you. That means today you don't have to trade anything yourself, enter anything yourself, or anything like that, yes? If that might be your concern, instead everything is done for you. Drag and drop, yes, with a connection, taken over with one click for you, yes. That means we use the latest technologies, also trading systems, support mechanisms for traders. But there is always a real person behind it who simply controls the processes, who has clear risk management, right? And very importantly, there are no such costs. That means everything you will see today will not end up with, hey, you have to pay some amount to even be allowed to participate, right? Instead, you can start directly with your cash flow. Yes, of course, you will need money to trade. That's clear. But I will show you that shortly, how you can use the whole thing effectively. Yes, that means there will be no extra costs. You are 100% in control of your money. And very importantly, your money is on a... Oops, there are still people in the waiting room. One moment, I need to confirm quickly. So, okay, your money is with a regulated company. Yes, that means, so hold on, I'll set up this room. So, sorry, had to adjust something technical here. That means any funds, yes, are with a company that is audited. Yes, a broker, an officially licensed broker. That means it can't disappear overnight or you won't have access because everything is subject to regulations, and I will show you that shortly. So, and a little fun fact, before we get into trading, 70% of Germans, and it won't be different in other countries, yes, do not invest in the stock market, yes. So 7 out of 10 people, which is quite crazy, yes. And according to statistics, 90% of people underestimate compound interest effects. That means if we just now take a completely normal, really super conservative example, yes, 100% monthly in 10 years. So with 15% per annum, yes, would be, yes, just under 20,000 euros. So what do you see here? Yes, saving doesn't help. Yes, with inflation, with sometimes negative interest rates, you don't get anything for it anymore. Yes, money in the account. The Americans say cash is trash. Yes, that brings nothing. So the question is not whether we have to do something, but what we should do. That is a very well-founded approach that even beginners can use to get a feel for the market. So, and what are we actually doing now? We work with so-called funded accounts. Okay, now please listen very carefully for the next few minutes, because this is the only important thing. This is the only term you need to understand, okay? This is the so-called instant funding. Yes, it comes or is, yes, an English term. Yes, and means, so to speak, if you want to say it in German, yes, a loaded or leveraged account. So, and for people who know a bit about it, we did not invent such funded accounts. We didn't somehow patent the light bulb here or anything like that, but funded accounts have existed since the digitization of the stock market, the late 1990s, early 2000s, since there is also this foreign capital trading, prop challenge trading, for those who know it. There is, yes, with a small subtle difference. Namely that this instant funding or funded accounts are normally only intended for self-traders, so for self-trading, and are subject to some regulations, yes? This means that you, yes, cannot exceed certain movements in the account. That is the so-called drawdown. I will explain that later during this call, okay? And the problem with such normal funded accounts is that you would have to trade yourself. That means you have to train yourself, you have to read up on it yourself, and so on. And you can theoretically do that if you have the character for it, but it's not something that might be completely accessible for the masses or the average person, right? So, and copy trading will also be a familiar term to you, right? It's known from big companies like even eToro, where you can follow some people or other brokers. Yes, there are various large brokers. So, however, here you never really know, okay, who can I follow, what makes sense, and so on and so forth, right? And of course, you don't want to use larger sums. So, and here they simply combined it to say, hey, okay, there are a few really strictly pre-selected traders and trading systems, yes, that operate very cautiously, very conservatively in the market. Yes, I will show you that in a moment. But where you can connect your funded account. Yes, and a funded account means an account. Yes, where you receive much larger capital. Yes, simply explained, like with a real estate purchase, right? That means you go to the bank, give them 10 or 20% equity, and get the rest financed as leverage, so to speak, right? And a funded account is the same, where you technically deposit a security with the broker and get 5 to 10 times the money. Now comes the fine difference, that it's not a loan, you're not liable or obligated to repay, right? That means, of course, with your investment, if it goes down the drain, right? But you can practically get 5 to 10 times the money with a smaller investment with a few hundred or €1,000. I'll show you the accounts in a moment. You can link it to a professional like that. So, and the difference is, with the broker we work with, these funded accounts are just much more customer friendly. Yes? That means, for one, we are on the so-called A-book, right? For those who are not familiar, there are A-book and B-book brokers. This means many brokers work against you. It's like when you go to a casino. The casino always wins, right? And in the end, you are working against the broker because they make money when losses are incurred. So, with the broker we work with, it's not like that. Yes, because the trades are actually forwarded to the exchange. That means it's in the company's interest for you to make money, to have larger sums with the broker because of the fee structure. Yes, and the trader's performance is also earned from. Yes. Also, that's very interesting. This means you have a more customer-friendly account. And often with these funnel accounts, there are limits that you can only withdraw 50% initially, not more than such and such per week. Here too, you have 100% of the payout without any hidden limitations and blah, blah, blah. It's just really important to understand that, right? So, and the broker we work with is Tegasfx, right? It's an offshore broker, yes. We always say offshore is not a crime. I will also show you a few slides about it in a moment. There are several licenses. There is evidence of the A-book. You can simply go to Trustpilot. You can't fake reviews there like on Google or other platforms. You can read everything clearly. Yes, the reviews. Plus, as mentioned, you have the option to connect copy trading with the funnel accounts. The broker collaborates with DBS Bank. I'll show you that again now. And you can also deposit and withdraw cryptocurrencies, right? And I have here again, just again, opened or would like to briefly show you as a small digression very quickly, yes? So Tegasfx is not just some random company, yes? There is a German leadership team behind it, like Mr. Arnold here. Also, a Swiss person is on the leaderboard, yes? That means it is indeed a broker outside the EU, yes, but with contacts here, yes. Plus, also very important, yes, that here the whole thing is done with DBS Bank, yes. This means the money is in segregated client accounts where deposits and withdrawals are practically handled directly through this bank, yes. For those who don't know what DBS Bank is, yes, it is the largest bank in Singapore, one of the largest, if not the largest, bank in Asia with over 800 billion. In the administration, yes, and the deposits and withdrawals are processed, as you can see here on such a bank statement, directly through this bank, yes, and such a partnership simply doesn't exist, yes. If it weren't, let's say, super serious and well-founded, just as a little digression, so you really see you're working with a trustworthy company, yes.
So, I'll jump back into the slides here. All right, so
then there is now, of course, the possibility, yes, to connect to a trading system. And we have one that we work with very successfully. That is our Eagle FX trading system to the Euro-US dollar. Why exactly this currency pair? Because the Euro-US dollar always moves in certain intervals, yes, where you can very well, yes, build trades in these ongoing zigzag or sideways movements. Yes? And I just want to give you a calculation example right now, or I'll show you now. Okay? what's important is we have a verifiable performance. Yes, that means each of you can track 100% transparently how this trading system works, and you can simply connect to it. Yes, and later there are even more possibilities to build multiple accounts, to build a portfolio. We also provide you with long-term training for that, just as you can build a stock portfolio, a crypto portfolio, a real estate portfolio. You can actually build a trading portfolio without having to do it yourself nowadays. Yes, and I have opened this here in the browser, especially for you again, so that we can show it to you transparently. Yes, because anyone can show a screenshot in the presentation. I will refresh the page here again. Yes. And that is the origin of Tegasfx. Yes, as it has been running on the broker since 2022. Yes, that means you can see on average it has generated 3 to 4% monthly here in effect. Yes, you can nicely see a curve here, exactly how it should look in the end. Yes, and it has 100% transparency on it. Yes. So, and this is a non-funded account. It is a live account. Yes, a larger normal account that is not topped up with this instant funding. And we have specifically for the Tegas account here also a live account from an instant funding account, which was also in the slide. Yes, before it was 6% because the screenshot is a bit older. Now we are already at 7 point something. The whole thing started being tracked here last year in December. And here too, you see how the curve gently goes upward with a very, very, very low risk. And here a cut of 1% per month was made. And now most of you will think, okay, wait a minute, 1% per month, that's totally boring. That's nothing. What's that about? Yeah. Can you do a bit more with it? Yeah. And I want to demonstrate that to you live here, okay? It's important to understand that you know the difference between normal trading and trading with instant funding, because that's going to blow you away now. And now you really need to pay close attention for the next 2 or 3 minutes, because we're almost done. Please focus again for a moment, because this is actually one of the most interesting parts today. For example, if we just take, okay, we deposit 5,000 into any trading account. Yes, the example could also be done with 1,000, with 10,000, with 20,000, whatever. Yes, just to have an example. And you would now, let's say, make 5%, yes, in a month. So then you would have here, yes, 5 times $50. That means we would have made $250, for example, over 1 month, 2 months, however long. So that's normal trading. So, and now the big difference with instant funding is that with instant funding, you would now, for even less money, in this example, yes, roughly plus or minus, yes, you would now get $25,000 for these $4,000, yes. With a criterion, yes, that you must not drive the account into a drawdown of more than 15%, yes. That means that is this condition, yes. But our trading systems are precisely designed for that. And in normal trading, you also wouldn't risk 50% of the account, yes, because you simply, you have the possibility to do so. That means here too, you trade more conservatively, yes, and here is, so to speak, the rule, yes. Can we go into it specifically again? Yes. And now let's move on and say, okay, for example, we now make, yes, compared to the example on the left, only half the return. That means we have the trading sizes, we have the risk, but we also have the profit. That means in this example, we would now make 2.5%. And now it gets super interesting, because what is 2.5% here, right? That's then, of course, 250, yes, or times 500, yes, plus 125. That is then $625 dollars, yes, like that. And now you see what? You see that on one side, we have minimized the risk. That means the trading is inherently safer in this case study. You also see at the same time that we are achieving higher profits. Yes. And now you might think, okay, wait a minute. That's just 2.5% as an example. Yes. So, or we can set the sum even smaller with the 1% example. Yes. Then we would, for example, make $250 here with this account, although you can also set it a bit higher. There is a multiplier. I'm just saying it normally now, but now you have to consider the following, namely, you should not compare this money to the 25,000, but rather to what you originally paid for it, and that is this sum here. And then you see that actually this 250, so already 1%. Yes, if I quickly calculate that now. Wait, I need my calculator for a moment. So 250 divided by 4,000 times 100, we would already be at 6.25%. Yes, here we are practically already at significantly more. Yes, and there you see, okay, I can roughly double my money within a year. Yes, right? Can do. Yes, we call that return on equity. Yes, the so-called ROE. So with the return on equity, I can easily make 50, 60, 100, 150% per year with extremely cautious trading, with an extremely low drawdown. Yes, and of course, with these profits, you can, for example, buy additional funding accounts and later on connect more trading systems. That means you start with such a system now. Yes, and later on you can expand the whole thing, because if you are diversified across multiple systems and have more volume, what does that mean? Over time, you need even less risk, even smaller percentages to earn the same money and are even more securely positioned. So, and that's why we don't go around saying, hey, chaka, yeah, let's make 50% a month, and so on and such nonsense. And then you know these horror scenarios when the market breaks out in some direction or Donald Trump gives a speech. Yes, then you suddenly lose your money. Yes, and the outcry is big. No, instead we do it really calmly and long term. That means everyone who is here today and somehow wants to make quick money, yes, this is not a get-rich-quick system. Yes, if you want to get rich quickly, you are in the wrong place. But it is a system where you can become rich and wealthy if you are willing to put in a certain amount of patience. Yes. To work together with us, and of course in the long term, for example, use part of your profits to buy cryptocurrencies and stocks and so on, and think holistically. And that's why you might now understand why we have such a, well, crazy rush with this concept within just a few months. Because it's simply super customer friendly. Because it's something you want to invest in yourself, where you really go all out, where you would theoretically recommend it to my mother. Yes. So, and that is always a sign for me, okay? That I know I just have a really, really good product. Yes. And now I'll tell you, for example, my personal goal. What am I doing right now? I am building a portfolio of $1 million funded. Yes, I'll show you the pricing for that in a moment. Yes. So if I make just 1% a month on $1 million funded, very conservatively, what is that? That's $10,000 every month. Yes. And that would probably cost me around 100,000 euros in investment. Yes. Now, you can of course set your sights smaller and then say, okay, how can I easily earn an extra 300 to 500 euros a month? And that can be done relatively quickly and easily. Yes. And that's, I'll show you again briefly in conclusion. One moment, I'll jump back into the slides here.
Exactly. So here you see, since then we have already made profits again. Yes.
And here you can see in the end how instant funding is ultimately possible. That means, as mentioned, we don't have a top challenge. We are with a regulated ECM STP broker. Your funds are safe there. There are demonstrably profitable traders. We don't work with any, pseudo people. Everything is verifiable. You can withdraw 100% of these profits. There are very clear and friendly account regulations. And here you can simply decide for yourself, okay, how do I want to approach the whole thing, right? So for example, I started with the $50,000 account. Yes, at the beginning. At some point, I was, of course, a bit further along because I've been involved with the topic for a few years. The only thing I wouldn't recommend to you now, although it's possible, is the $3,000 funded account. Why? Because the smallest trade or the smallest unit is 0.01 lot. Yes, that means with the $3,000 account, you have a slightly higher risk. Yes, it's actually a kind of trial a trial option that you can upgrade later, yes. But everything else, yes, we're not, let's say, in this mode of telling you, hey, buy this, buy that, yes. So most customers, for example, take a $25,000 funded. It always depends on the budget, yes. Some have more money, others don't. As I said, that's simply up to you. Just take a look and build something with us over time. Yes. And what I really want to give you on your way is the following: that you really talk to the person who invited you here today after this call and really spend another half hour dealing with the topic. Because the most expensive thing for you will not be, for example, acquiring such an account. Yes, or to invest money somewhere else. But I learned this from my mentor back then, and I am very grateful that he gave me this advice. He always said, the most expensive thing in life is a closed mindset. Yes.
Or an equivalent, yes. Ignorance, yes. Simply letting opportunities pass by, yes.
It goes in here, out there, and who cares, right? And that's why, and I can really speak from personal experience, it can be something where you can simply build a very cool additional income. And that can be the starting point or the ticket for many more exciting future investments. Because we are in the community, yes, let's say, generally interested in all financial values, so to speak. We also deal with crypto, we deal generally with trading, we deal with the financial market, yes. And that's simply where the bread is baked, that's simply where the money is made. And that's why I truly wish or recommend to you from the heart, yes, go to the person I invited today, ask a few more questions. I'm also available for calls. That means if someone says, hey, I would like to speak with you personally, Nikki, show me your own account, how are you set up? We can gladly show you everything.
Yes, and there is also a small referral program, yes, for those who always wonder, yes, why they do these calls and so on, yes.
On this trading fee structure, yes. That means with every trade, a few small cents are triggered, yes. That means with such a community or a few customers, you can additionally over time build 50, 100, maybe even a few €100 monthly as income, which is not subtracted from people or taken away from them, but simply arises from the cost structure on the exchange. There is a small partner program for anyone interested, but it's optional, so you know why we do it, yes. And in this regard, as an end customer or investor, you can build something really, really great, yes. And that's basically it. It's not much more complicated, yes. Of course, these terms, okay, instant funding, drawdown, and so on, you don't need to internalize all of that in detail. It's just important that you understand the principle. Okay, I get leverage money from a regulated broker, can connect it to a system that is relatively secure, and can build a portfolio from it in the future. Can build a portfolio for the future. So, and if there are any questions, yes, feel free to ask them in the chat now. If there is still any question open, we can gladly answer it here for everyone. So don't hesitate. Yes, if anyone wants to know something, if something is on the tip of your tongue, yes, now is your chance. And otherwise, we are now organizing almost on a daily basis individual calls. Yes, we are now doing roughly once a week. Here a small info presentation. That means if you have someone who is interested or you want to listen to it again, yes, you always have the opportunity. We also do training sessions, as I said, also that yes, for the affiliate concept or also for portfolio building, we also have a small timetable for that. You are warmly invited, and we will also hold a few events, physical events and gatherings again this fall, where we just come together. It's always really cool to meet other people from the community and acquire a bit of new knowledge and so on. We have a lot planned there as well, right? And in this sense, if there are no questions, I don't want to keep you any longer on this lovely Thursday. Then I wish you a wonderful evening. I wish you lots of success. And as I said, feel free to contact the person I invited. Check the questions there. And if you need me, feel free to contact me, book an appointment, whatever.
And then good luck.
Yes, I wish you a good cash flow, and then we'll see each other in one of the next calls or events. Take care. See you then. Bye-bye.